questions.
Well, it's kind of another week of coming in and having to say that we didn't do a lot of things to help ourselves win a football game. You have to credit Coach Washington and North Carolina A&T. They're one of the best football teams that anybody will play all year long. They're fast, they're physical, they're aggressive. They're obviously a top 25 football team for a reason, and that's what we aspire to be. We did do some positive things. I had some positive things happen, but you can't spot one of the top teams in your conference 3 turnovers and expect to overcome it. So we did some positive things moving the ball. We're still having some issues on defense, and we've got to try to right those wrongs this week. Howard is in a very similar situation to us. They're going through their own things, and Ron Prince is a good football coach, and he's done a tremendous job of keeping his team together, as we're doing here. It's homecoming in D.C., so the atmosphere should be electric, and I think all of our guys aspire to play in front of crowds like this week in and week out. If you know anything about HBCU football, you know about Howard's homecoming and the tradition and the crowd, and we expect it to be a tough environment. And what better place would it be for us to get our season on track?
Yeah, Coach, you just alluded to it. Howard's been going through their own things off the field, and then, of course, Newton's deciding to transfer. What kind of emotional response do you expect from that team this week?
I expect them to respond like a Ron Prince team would. Ron's tough. He's resilient. I worked with Ron at the University of Virginia when I was younger. I've been, personal friend and mentor for a long time, and Ron is very tough-minded, and and his team will respond the same way. If you look at the way that they played Bethune, the same week that they had all the media stuff going on, those kids played Bethune as tough as anybody's played them all season. So we expect the challenge. They're expecting a challenge. I think this would be a great ball game. 2 teams that are in search of something, 2 teams that are in situations where the head coach is making sure that the team sticks together and is kind of canceling out all the outside noise. So I think it'll be a great ball game this weekend in D.C.
Their top receiver, Kyle Anthony, has 25 more catches than anybody else on the team. What's the general plan to slow him down?
Well, you've got to account for him. I mean, obviously, just like we tried to account for the receiver last week from A&T. Ron does a tremendous job of getting the ball to Kyle, and he should. It's one of those situations where you're going to have to know where he is every snap, understanding what they're trying to do to get him open offensively. And there's no secret about Kyle. Kyle's been one of the best receivers in the MEAC for the last couple of years, and this new offensive staff is just taking advantage of his talents. And we've got to make sure that defensively we can limit his touches and understand where he is at all times.
You guys are already a close team, but the next few weeks when you've got 2 road games and a bye week, do you think this is an opportunity for you guys to kind of get away from home and kind of grow even closer together?
It cancels out a lot of distractions. When you can put these guys on a bus on Friday and get them away from all the outside noise and kind of spend time together in a hotel and get you focused and ready to play. It's better. We love playing at home. We love being able to play in front of our fans, but for some reason it just seems we play a little bit better away from here.
After the game yesterday, you mentioned doing some things staff-wise and player-wise. What's the update on that?
Well, we've tweaked some things in practice. Handled some things differently. Moved around. A few responsibilities and just made sure that we're all doing the right things. We've asked the kids to approach some things differently. We're approaching practice, as I said, a little bit differently, trying to make sure that our guys' health and everything is the best, and we're trying to put our guys in as many competitive situations as we possibly can while keeping their health and safety in mind.
Are you willing to say any of those coaching changes?
No.
Looking through the depth chart, 2 things I noticed. Remy in at the starter over Chiron and Richard above Chevalier. What can you say about those 2 changes?
Well, if you look back, it's just been kind of week-to-week things. I think Remy may have started the game last week, but Chiron played better, so that could flip-flop. It's just continuing to cause competition in those rooms. And Chevalier actually started at the nickel this past week, and Richard ended up playing more corner than he had. So it's those guys at the nickel Sam spot and corner should be interchangeable guys because that skill set is essentially the same. We're playing our best players, so whoever ends up where, whoever plays, the amount of snaps depends upon the production that's going on during the actual game.
Justin, you've had a really good start to the season. Why do you think you've been having that success?
Just off-season work, working with Coach Scott and other receivers. We've been pushing ourselves more and more. A lot of competition between us and the DBs and us as receivers, just trying to get each other better. So that has really pushed us and myself, to wanting to play better, trying to play better during games.
Yeah, for those off-season workouts, what areas of either your body or mentally have you been really trying to focus on to get better?
My quick first step, actually knowing, seeing how the defense moves around, knowing different coverages, things like that.
Coach, what have you seen from Justin so far?
I think Justin's been a tremendous work in progress. The greatest thing about Justin is his attitude. He's been very patient. He's waited his time. I'm sure he's wanted to have the same impact that he's having sooner in his career, but he hadn't said a word. All he's done is continue to work. Justin's been around here, for a couple of years, and these catches that everybody sees him make, we've been seeing him make them in practice for the last 3 years. So it's great for him to finally be able to showcase his talents to everybody else. He's been hampered by injury a little bit, throughout his career, and I think as he's matured and grown physically, he's bigger, he's stronger. This week was the first time that he's actually had to play, 60-plus snaps with our rotation, and I think that's kept him healthy, and I think it's made him that much more productive. But, he's definitely a guy that we're going to continue to try to feature and get the ball to him and get him isolated in matchups.
Rayquan, I'm sure you've heard, as all players do, the jump to college from high school is a big one, but now that you've been a part of it, what have you seen as the biggest difference from on-the-field play between high school and college?
The game speed is actually faster than it is in high school. And once you adjust to it, you get better as fast again to it.
What parts of your skill set have you tried to really work on, similar to the question I asked Justin? For you, though, what have you tried to work on to get better?
Just my vision and seeing the holes better, because it's not as big as it was in high school, so I had to get to it and make better cuts downhill.
Hey, Coach, what do you see as Rayquan's skill set?
I think all the things he's as he just said, as he alluded to, he's a 200-pound back that he's got good top end speed. He's physical. The thing that we had to do with Rabbit was just kind of acclimate him to the game. I mean, he came in to training camp as possibly the fourth tailback or the third tailback with Cam being hurt, and then he got himself banged up during training camp, which kind of pushed Kevin in front of him, and we've kind of had Aaron Savage banged up for a couple weeks. So during that time, we continue to give Rabbit key reps. And, when we put him in the game on Saturday, it's something that we've been working to. As he said, the holes in college aren't as big as they are in high school. So, he's doing a better job of picking his spots and hitting the gas when he has the opportunity to. His improved pass protection and just understanding what it takes to be a college running back. So it's been pretty special to see him progress, and if we've had the ability to play 4 backs this season, and all those backs have had productive games. So it says something about what Coach Sherman's doing in the running back room.
Obviously you mentioned the running back's been a little banged up. What's the status for all 4 guys? Obviously Rayquan's healthy, but the other 3 guys, how are they?
Rabbit's healthy. We'll get Kevin back this week. We'll have Savage again this week, and G will be a game time decision. Just there's nothing really wrong with him, but he's just banged up, because of Game 6, like a lot of other guys.
Rayquan, how long has the nickname Rabbit been around, and who gave it to you?
It's been around since I was 12, and I got it from playing Catch the Rabbit game. Everybody on the line, I was in front of everybody, and they couldn't catch me. And my coach just said his name would be Rabbit, because nobody could catch him.
So it was like a Pop Warner type coach or something like that?
Yeah, it was my right coach.
Okay, yeah. All right, Justin, Coach alluded to the great catches that you made. You're mossing somebody every week, man. So is this something that you've done your whole life, or what can you say about all these highlight reel catches you do?
I would say kind of my whole life, I would guess, but it's more like my body control, I guess. Just God-given abilities for that. So, yeah.
Hey, Coach, what do you think makes Justin a unique talent to make those kind of catches?
I think you just said body control, catch radius. I mean, he's got big hands. If you can grip and palm a football like that, it definitely gives you an advantage when you're in those situations. I think the great thing about Justin is he's not looking to make those catches to add any flair to him. He's trying to get the ball, and we teach our receivers to attack the ball. And it's a very competitive receivers room that those guys are in, and tons of different skill sets. So, they have to make those plays in order to play. And I think, one great thing about our receivers is, we've been playing, 5 or 6 guys, and all those guys have different skill sets. And Justin's skill set, Marquis' skill set, and DK's skill set, all those things complement each other, which have made us pretty productive in the pass game.
What's Justin's personality like off the field in the locker room?
Justin's quiet, reserved. He's very businesslike. Justin's going to run a company one day. It won't shock me one bit. But, when he's on the football field, he has fun. I think being at Norfolk State's been great, for Justin. I think it's given him the opportunity to explore, college that maybe, he didn't necessarily expect to be here, through the recruiting process. But we recruited him. I've known Justin's family for a long time, and very fortunate that they trusted us with him, and this thing's played out very well for him. Obviously, he's got this year and more time to continue to get better. And I don't think any of us have seen the best of Justin.
Same personality question for Rayquan.
Well, Rabbit's a special case now. I mean, Rabbit is kind of the guy that everyone knows on our team. Rabbit has a huge but positive social media presence. Rabbit is probably right up next to Matt and these guys in regards to promoting our program. But he handles it well. He does a good job in the classroom, and the transition for him from high school to college hadn't been easy, but he's worked at it every day. And I think his personality has shown through that, because even though he has a loud personality, he's not a loud kid, and he's really accepted the mentorship and the coaching that's come in the running back room.
Rayquan, obviously, like Coach alluded to, you were hurt for the first few games, trying to get back in the action. Describe what it was like for you to finally get out there and your first carry goes for that long carry that you had, the first career carry here. Describe what that was like for you.
Well, I know I had the ability to run the ball. I was just hurt, so when I had the chance to make a play, I know I could make it. Me getting the first carry for 67 yards, I wasn't shocked because I know I could do it. So I just got out there and just play football. Football is just the game I love, so let's go out and play.
The last thing I want to ask you, Coach, is what can you guys do defensively to try to minimize the number of yards you guys are giving up?
That's a good question. We've got to fit gaps. We've got to tackle. There's no one place or person to place blame. It starts with me. Then obviously our defensive staff's got to make sure that we're putting our kids in the best possible situations. And when our kids get in those situations, they've got to make tackles. I think most importantly, we need to be more physical. We need to be more attacking. I think you'll see, a little bit different, personality from our defense this week. But we've got to remain confident in these guys. Those kids on defense, believe me, they're playing as hard as they can possibly play, and it's easy to say they should do this or they should do that. But, obviously Jermaine Martin's done that to a lot of teams. So we've got to play better on defense, because when you're struggling on defense, it forces the offense to play perfectly, and we're not a perfect offense. So, we've got to make sure that we get some of these things in line. And the other thing we've got to do is we've got to get something of value out of our special teams, because that really offsets some things. So we need a big punt return, we need a big kick return, we need to block a kick or something like that to kind of generate some juice. And the thing that I can say about our guys is that they've stuck together, because at times like this, you could say, hey, your season's a wash. We've still got 6 games to go, and we're extremely confident in ourselves. I'm extremely confident in my staff. I'm extremely confident in my team. These 2 guys beside me. And one more thing I want to say. There's a lot of heat and a lot of talk about Juwan Carter, and I'll tell people this: if you've never played quarterback at any level, you try to do it. That's one of the most difficult jobs that anyone could possibly have. And I'll continue to defend Juwan. I'll continue to defend anybody on my team, because these kids are like my sons, and parents defend their children. And Juwan Carter is one of the best quarterbacks in this conference, and our defense has the ability to be one of the better defenses in this conference. We just got to put all these guys in position as a coaching staff to get done what we need to done. But job one for myself is to make sure that our team's mentally and physically prepared to play. And we'll be ready to play on Saturday, because these guys came out yesterday and bounced around, and I think they appreciated the new practice schedule that we've implemented. And as I said, I truly believe we'll be ready to go on Saturday.